Hello, everybody. Let's start our session. I would like to thank you all that you are participating in this session. And also, I would like to thank my colleagues and friends, let's say, at EDC of Tehran University of Medical Sciences for holding such a precious series of webinars. Today, we are going to have a brief discussion about mobile learning, which is one of the fantastic educational trends nowadays that fits for all ages, let's say, from children to adults and university students, everybody. Oh, Hasnain just joined us. I suppose that you can change his role too. Hello, Hasnain. We just started the session. I was just saying my hellos to everybody and also hello to you. How are you? Nice to meet you here.
Thank you, Profita. Sorry, was being late because stuck in traffic jam. And
okay, thank you. No problem. Thanks for your participation. In this session, we are going to have three presentations, and also we will have question and answer. I would like to welcome dear Mr. Hasnain Zafar from Malaysia, one of our colleagues from Malaysia, who is truly an expert of the field of e-learning. He delivers always. I have attended some of his presentations and workshops. He is a fantastic presenter, very practical and extremely, enjoyable. His presentations are, and I'm very sure that you will enjoy what he delivers. Another presenter who I love so much is Sarina Zare. She is one of our precious medical students. I personally should say that whenever I'm going to give up from working at the university because of, circumstances, conditions, or whatever happens, the precious students like Sarina and the others that are present in this room, you force me to stay and go on. I truly love you, and I'm so honored that we are holding this webinar alongside with one of our medical students, and thank you, Sarina, for accepting to be a part of this event. This webinar will be started with Sarina's presentation. She is going to have a brief review on mobile learning and its applications, let's say principles and fundamentals. And then Hasnain is going to introduce some, applications and tools in this regard. And finally, at the end, I'm going to have a review on the tips for instructional design of e-learning, of a mobile learning platform or program, and also the theories that are the backbone of this idea. So I would like to ask Sarina and Hasnain, so that when you are going to have your lecture, please first introduce yourself and let the participants become familiar with you. Sarina, we are going to start with you. So let's start your journey. The stage is yours.
Well, hi, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Mashtazadeh, for introducing. It's really my pleasure to be here, and it's really my pleasure to know you. Dear Hasnain, welcome to our meeting. Thanks for your acceptance to attending the meeting. Well, actually, I'm Sarina Zare, medical student and MHP student at Tehran University of Medical Science. And I'm here for presenting about a brief discussion on mobile learning, what it is, and what is the uses and advantages and disadvantages of it.
Sarina, we don't have your share screen.
Let me show it again.
Okay.
Is it now okay?
It is trying to launch now. It is okay, and it is in the full mode. Thank you. Continue, please.
Well, thank you. First of all, I want to ask the participants to tell me that what they know about mobile learning or m-learning, and what they think it is. Actually, I come back to the meeting so that I can see your chat. Please write in the chat box that what do you think about m-learning and mobile learning, as well as you know. Write whatever you know. It's not. Thank you. Learning through mobile apps. Thank you. It's used for micro learning. Well, yes, learning while on the move. Great. Thank you, everybody. Well, actually, we can define mobile learning or m-learning as the use of mobile handheld electronic devices in education. And because the field of learning is really complex and is getting more complex nowadays, it's not just about learning. Actually, it's a blended into everyday learning, teaching, and even our medical practice. And it's obvious that mobile technologies, handheld technologies, are being diffused throughout most of general population, and it has a standard tool in our everyday life. So we can think about 4 domains in mobile learning, which is actually when we use mobile devices, handheld devices, mobiles, tablets, phones, and everything in our medical practice, in our medical learning and teaching. The 4 domains are mobile-enabled practice, mobile-enabled learning, mobile-enabled teaching, which overall actually underpinned by everyday mobile-enhanced living. And these 4 domains are really interconnected and interdependent, and they are really connected to each other. And the devices that we use and the functions can differ in every part and in every domain, but we have also common uses of our devices in these domains too. And it's important that the actually line between the mobile technologies, between the use of mobile technologies in medical practice and in medical education are really blurred, because we can use apps in these 2 different objects commonly and in the very similar ways. Actually, mobile health technologies are not something new to medical education. For example, many years ago, before mobile devices and handheld devices, smartphones appeared, there were used PDAs, personal digital assistants, in medical education. And there are some portable devices and it have connectivity, so they can use them for decision-making tools, for drug references, for medical calculations, and also for some learning resources, such as reading textbooks, such as reading journal articles. So mobile technologies and handheld technologies are not something really new to medical education. And now resources show that we can use mobile technologies for having better time management, having better communications, that we are going to talk about them further. Actually, studies have shown that using handheld technologies helps us to improve the use of evidence-based medicine and also improve our decision making. Also, it helps us as students to get better on our exams, have better performance on our exams, get better quality of teaching in our environment, in our medical environment. And actually, there is a growing interest in the using handheld technologies to improve both preclinical and clinical learning. Well, let's talk about some features of mobile devices that enable them to work and become available for us in medical education. First of all is devices, which actually are developing nowadays, and it's developing in a high speed and a high rate. Actually, there are powerful handheld computers with extensive network connectivity, including cell, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth connectivity, excellent displays, high quality photographic, video, and audio capabilities, and lots of apps that are available to use on them. Also, our phones can connect to a range of peripheral devices, for example, USB drives, keyboards, and external displays, which make them more usable. So there are really lots of devices that we can use. They are really usable in different contexts and in different situations. And the prices are cheaper than laptops, and it provides advantages over desktop computers. For example, we can have cameras on them, so we can scan documents, we can scan QR codes, barcodes, and we can use them for data input. And also there are different services on them. There are different apps, and the focus has shifted to apps from recent years. So there are some small applications that can be downloaded, that can be run on our devices. And there are many mobile medical applications that can be used so that our mobile platform can transfer to a regulated medical device. Well, let's to get better known about the mobile learning, we want to talk about a social construct within which the activities are undertaken. In this system, we have a subject and an object and one or more than one outcomes. Actually, the traditional concepts of medical education tend to place teachers in the place of subject. The object is was the medical student, and the outcome is becoming a doctor. But nowadays, the focus is more learner-centered. In this focus, the subject is the medical student, the object is the medical education that he or she received, and the outcome is becoming a trained doctor. Actually, all of these devices and the mobile devices that we use affect the way that the student, as the subject of the learning environment and learning activity system, interact with the curriculum, with the teachers, with other program activities, with other students. And these devices helps them to provide a better communication with all of the activities, with the curriculum, with the teachers in the situation of their learning. And these activities take place in a context of rules, in a context of the community, and in division of labors, for example, mentors, learners, teachers, actors, and all of the people and the community and of the learning situation. Well, now let's talk about the uses of mobile devices. I want to know your idea again, that in your idea, what can be used, how can we use mobile devices in the medical system? For example, when we are talking that a medical student, me as a medical student, in the healthcare system, I'm using my phone device. What can I do with it? Share whatever you think about in the chat, please. Thank you. Yes, for searching, to see picture of signs, to take notes. Yes, excellent. Thank you. Yes, as you mentioned, there are lots of ways that we can use our mobile devices in the medical setting, actually. First of all, to take an example, me as a medical student, when I'm in the clinical care and in the healthcare provide settings, I can use, for example, my calendar, my mobile phone calendar, to do my schedule better, to actually make a better schedule. I can use some communication apps to communicate with other students and with other people, with actually to notice about the patients in the communication apps. I can use Memo or actually other apps for word processing apps to take notes. I can scan documents with my mobile phone. I can use browsers for searching, and for example, many other things that I can use. For example, I can use some resources such as library. I can use the logging system. I can communicate with other people through the Gmail system, through the email, through the social media, and there are not actually limited and numbered uses of mobile devices. We can use it in different ways and in different situations. Now, if we want to talk about the advantages of mobile learning, that's what this provides to our learning. First of all, the main advantage of mobile learning is simply its access. Mobile devices can enable students to learn in any time and anywhere and anywhen that they want. Often they can learn actually when they have nothing to do, like nothing else to do. Another advantage is that many students have already mobile phones, so the cost is really fewer to them. If the students don't have mobile phones, they may face some problems and they may face some financial pressure. But as already many students have mobile phones, it actually reduces the cost. And in mobile learning settings, we don't need a physical environment, so it's reduced the cost also. Another added value that it's really great, I think so, is that with mobile learning, it enables us to have a better and have a more situated and contextual learning. Actually, we can integrate the mobile learning to our curriculum, to our learning, and the technology enabled us to have a better situated learning. For example, as a student may have an unanswered question when he or she is on the round, and then she can search the question at that time and have the answer at that time. So he or she is provided with really more knowledge, and this knowledge is better than the knowledge that he or she can receive in the library or in the, for example, lecture hall. So it's more situated learning. Also, mobile devices can be used to enable some quick, easy, and continuous communication and interaction between learners and between learner and tutors and mentors, actually. This can happen inside the lecture hall when students are answering some questions, some, for example, Google surveys and anything at the lecture hall, and also outside of the classrooms when they have some small or large group discussions and they can communicate with each other at any time that they want, actually. And another thing is about the assessment. Actually, a good assessment can take place using mobile learning. Students can have lots of question banks actually in their mobile phones, so they can assess them. So they can have formative assessment. They can assess themselves whenever they want. They can see the answer of every question at the time that they answered it. So we can have self-assessment, we can have formative assessment, and it provides us with very greater assessment tools. And although there are lots of advantages of mobile learning, there are disadvantages too. First of all, it's reliant on technology. When my mobile phone is actually out of charge, out of memory, or I don't have internet connection, I can't use of it very properly. Another thing is that when I'm using the mobile phone, which actually has lots of applications and has lots of multimedias, it's the risk of distraction from learning. So we should take care of these actually disadvantages. And another thing is that maybe the patients and the clinicians don't accept using mobile phones in the clinical care setting. And they don't accept me as a medical student to, for example, get out my phone out of my pocket and search something or write something on my phone. And it's sometimes the lack of acceptance by the patients and also by the clinicians. Well, actually, there is a hierarchy of needs, which is somehow the adaptation of the hierarchy of Maslow's needs, which we have in mobile learning. There are 5 levels of needs in mobile learning, which we can talk about it further. The first actually level is physiological needs. Actually, the environment should allow mobile technologies to function. First of all, maybe students need to charge their devices in the hospital or in the medical schools. So we have to have some outlets, power outlets, sufficient for the number of students to charge their phones. Another thing is the network connectivity. When the students are using the mobile devices, they should have network connectivity. Also, they have to carry the devices in the healthcare setting. And in this content, the males, actually because they have larger pockets, are able to carry their phones better. But for females, it's somehow limited. And it's not possible to, for example, carry a shoulder bag with yourself in the hospital. So we have to think about it more. Another thing is that when students are using different and diverse mobile devices and phone devices, we need some technical support, and we need to think about technical support also. And another thing is that the mobile mediated activities actually should be incorporated and should be integrated with the existing technologies that we have in our educational system. For example, with the e-portfolio that we have it right now, or for example, the institutional elements that we have right now. So this is the base needs that we have for incorporating mobile learning in our medical system. The second level is safety. Actually, mobile devices can be lost, can be stolen, can be hacked. So we have to have really protection and passwords on our data, on our mobile phones, and we take care of it. Another thing is the protection of clinical information. We need to protect the clinical information on patients. We don't have to save, for example, the data on our mobile phone, and we need to, for example, have some different passwords, different authorizations to protect the clinical information. Another thing is that our mobile phones may be attacked by viruses. So we have to use antiviruses, we have to keep the softwares up to date, and we have to use different methods in order to immune our devices against viruses. Another thing is about some actually unsecured networks, for example, the free Wi-Fi's in the public places. We shouldn't actually connect to that networks, so our data should not be lost. Another thing is real viruses. We are working in the healthcare settings, in the hospitals, so we have to hygiene, we have to sterilize our mobile phones rapidly, and we can, for example, put some alarms on our phone so that we should sterilize and hygiene their phones on that time. Also, we have to keep some separation between the private and the public use of our mobile phones. We have to take care about it. We have to separate and make a clear line between the public and private use of our mobile phone. And also, we have to take care about internet and social media addiction. Teachers in this setting can't punish, for example, students for using their mobile phones because they're using their books, they're using the library. But we have to take considerations in order to predict and protect the students from internet and social media addiction. The third level actually is belonging. To be effective, the use of mobile technologies need to be accepted and need to be embraced. First of all, the integration with educational infrastructure and the institutional systems, for example, the LMS, the portfolios, should be fully and appropriately facilitated. For example, if there are some websites that students should use, the websites should be available for different kind of devices. Or for example, if we have some apps, the apps should be available, for example, in Android system and iOS system. We have to think about these things so that the students feel belonged and accept the setting and the mobile learning system. Also, we have to advise learners on the opportunities and challenges of the mobile learning. We can, for example, run courses, workshops for both trainers and trainees in order to talk about the use of mobile devices and mobile technologies on the medical education system. Another thing is that in really few medical schools, the school provide students with mobile devices, but most of the schools don't provide the students with devices, and they have to bring their own device. This may cause some financial pressure on the students, so we have to consider this too. Also, we have to find some balances in using devices. For example, think that you are in the lecture hall, the teacher said that, for example, think about something, or for example, search something, and some students immediately get out their phone devices and search it. But sometimes the teacher meant that search about it outside and after the class. So we have to clarify the use of the mobile devices, and we have to find some balances in using devices. And another thing that some students that have, for example, disabilities and learners with disabilities, because of the, for example, small screen of their phones and other things in the mobile learning system, may face some problems using the mobile learning. So the institution have to take them in consideration, and have to, for example, think about some alternatives for them. The fourth level of needs is STEAM. Actually, there are some distinct advantages to incorporate the use of mobile devices into the activities within the curriculum, and also it can be used in conjunction with learning situations and learning methods beyond the normal lecture settings. For example, team-based learning, TBL. And for example, we can use mobile devices in simulations, in clinical skills activities, so that the students have more esteem on using the mobile devices. And there are many implicit educational messages around the use of mobile devices in medical education. For example, if a teacher has the same device as the students have, they face less problems. They can do things and do stuff at the same time. But if the devices varies, we have to take care about the difference between devices so that students don't feel that they are, for example, ignored, or for example, they are excluded. And another thing that is really important is that in some medical settings and in some, for example, situations, students can't use their mobile devices. So the teachers should ensure that the learners are able to function with and without the mobile devices. And the last level of the needs of using mobile devices is self-actualization. Actually, after all the below needs applied, mobile technologies can be used to catalyze the learning and the personal and professional developments. You know, we don't want to just change our learning settings, we have to improve it. We have to use the mobile devices in order to have a better learning outcomes. In order to this, the mobile devices provide instant access to real, very different information resources. We can have different apps that actually have, for example, some textbooks available for us, apps that provide us with some enhanced information. For example, some apps that we can hear the heart sound in it, and apps that provide us situations that they weren't available for us before mobile learning. For example, some apps for decision making. Also, with mobile apps, we can connect learners, tutors, and patients. And in this way, our communication skills and our leadership skills and other skills can improve too. Another thing is that we can think that the learners are going to be teachers. So we should give consideration on how mobile technologies should be taught and talk about this item to them too. And another thing which is really great is that by using mobile devices, we can have opportunistic learning into the daily life of the learner. For example, when the student is going to school and coming back from the university, can, for example, take some quizzes, can evaluate herself, can assess herself, and, for example, can see a different, actually, series of cases, so he or she can improve the learning, and it's actually helped them to have a better learning outcome and progress their learning to become really more competent. Thank you for your attention. I'm here if you have any question, and my presentation finished.
Thank you, Sarina, for your fruitful presentation. Actually, it was much more than an introductory, presentation, and I'm afraid whether anything remains for me as the last presenter. Thank you. We have time for question and answer in this part. If you have any questions to ask from Sarina, we are eager to have your questions. You can type in your chat box, and if there are no question, thank you. Yes, I do agree with you, Dr. Mahmouli. It was a great presentation of Sarina. Yeah, she's really, precious for us, the precious student. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue the session. I would like to kindly ask Hasnain to start his presentation. Ask Hasnain, please introduce yourself before starting your, presentation. The stage is yours. We are listening. We are eager to hear your presentation that I'm sure, as usual, will be practical. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Rita and Sarina, right? Can I confirm you can hear me, right? And let me share my screen. So you can see my screen also, right?
Yes, everything is okay.
Perfect, perfect. I'm a bit handicapped, okay? Because this is not my routine desktop where I work. So normally I may have like 2 or 3 monitors, helping me put chat on right. So feel free to ask anything, and I may need help maybe from Serena. You can actually look at the chat, and if any question or anything, just interrupt. And thanks for making my job very easy, because you have covered very well. And to let you know, I also used activity theory in my research in my PhD, and I can share the reference at the end. Okay, so let's move on. This was the title given to me, Power of Mobile Learning and Revolutionizing the Medical Education. The medical education part actually already covered. So once again, thanks for Serena to make my job very easy. So I will quickly introduce and then move on and share some of the steps involved in mobile learning experience design. And then sharing few of the tools. The list was very long, but being in Iran, I got that advantage to check which tools are working and which are not. So it reduced to only 2 tools. And hopefully that would be useful. And maybe we can have a question answer at the end. Okay, very simple. I will inter-exchange these 2 terms, mobile learning or micro learning. Okay, and why I do this, because I think, yes, mobile learning is a wider term, but diving in, we can implement a micro learning concept to suit our mobile learning requirement or environment. Okay, very briefly, mobile learning is actually a small circle of e-learning, and e-learning is small circle of actually distance learning or online learning. Okay. Now here, just compare, focus on the right column, which is mobile learning. Um, when we are talking about purpose, so we are actually addressing a very specific outcome or part of outcome to cover. Okay, and when we are talking about delivery mode, I think the devices shared by Gina already helps us a lot. And the other thing I would like to highlight, um, we have to move to start exploring wearable devices or wearable computing. So I think a lot of you wear the smartwatch, that's one example. And there are a lot of other wearable devices. And I consider wearable devices as a mobile device also, can help us for mobile learning also. Okay. Then we have medium of delivery. We use actually mobile devices and few names like smartphone, tablets, or any device which can be moved. And I forget to put the picture before I traveled to Iran. My father-in-law was admitted in the hospital, and I heard about this concept, laptop on the trolley. So when a doctor visits the patient in the ward, they drag that trolley, or a nurse or some assistant or staff, paramedic medical staff will drag that trolley, and whatever discussion going on between doctor and patient, that person will key in and can fetch the record of patient from that notebook. So I have seen that, and I have taken the picture, but I forget to put in this slide. When it comes to design, yeah, look at bite size content and one idea per screen, and try to make the navigation easy, by enhancing the user interface. And then I think detail will be maybe covered by Prof. Rita, and she will be explaining about instructional design in detail. Yeah, duration, it varies. Shorter is ideal. So you can have like 1 minute advertisement, the concept, whenever multinational companies launch product, it's 1 minute introductory video and covers everything. So can we try do that and see like 3 to maximum 10 minutes? Okay, benefits of mobile learning, I think some already shared, and some I'm just telling you here. It's low expensive because of device if compared, and high versatile. You can move, you can change. You can, like, you see, I was traveling and I was rushing to hotel, having a meeting with another university, And my backup plan was, because traffic was very bad on the road. And my backup plan was like, I will open the laptop in the taxi or in the vehicle and will deliver my talk while on the move. So this is where we can do like online and offline. Also think of offline and how we can seamlessly integrate these two. And one of my paper where I use activity theory is actually mobile collaborative informal learning. So if you go and Google this term, most probably the first paper will be mine, where I use in 2012. Then simulation, you can actually simulate the real scenario or real condition into a mobile learning and flexible learning, and it will address medical education 4.0. What is that? You can actually Google. There is a Ministry of Education document on this, which actually very suitably address the issues or criteria they discuss in medical education 4.0. Mobile learning is very suitable way to cover that. Now, what would be the key elements? Now, I change from micro learning, okay, mobile learning to micro learning. Informal, try focus on most of the time the mobile learning would be in informal. What is informal? Outside of classroom, outside of your PBL sessions, outside of walls of your institution. And it could provide scaffolding. It could provide whenever we need assistance. And very nicely and engaging session was by our first speaker, Srina, where she asks you questions. For what purpose we'll be using mobile devices. So one of the way our purpose could be, like you want to know the drug dosage, or you want to know something, you immediately grab your PDAs or personal digital assistant or mobile device, and you search and you confirm that whatever I diagnose or whatever dosage I'm going to give is suitable. So it can scaffold and support main teaching and learning activity. So try to link that then mobile learning will be more effective, and seamless link between them. And it could be a refresher. Sometimes um, like we have always phase 1, phase 2 in medical schools, or sometimes the procedures, there is a change by in guidelines from the Ministry of Health that last time we were using certain methods. Now the updated and enhanced version is like this. So you can always go grab your mobile devices, refresh or fresh up. So that's where, and sport troubleshooting, like whenever you're stuck somewhere, our mobile learning content or mobile learning could assist us address certain issues, or challenges, and fit for daily workflow. So just imagine in living in a Tehran, how busy would be your life. Like you stuck in jam, you're covering up here, there, different departments you're running to meet certain meetings. How we can fit in mobile learning in between these daily routine tasks. So think of duration, think of short time, and what would be the best way to deliver this mobile learning. Could be a podcast. I will share in next slide. And it could be like not compulsory, because it's good to have voluntarily participation into mobile learning activities and all that. And then try to address the brain science, how our brain works. Like sometimes, you're driving, suddenly there's very nice advertisement on the road side, and it actually stuck in mind, because the way they design, although it's a few seconds, we show and message is conveyed, and it remains in our memory, and we come back at home and we discuss with family and we go and buy that product. So something like that. And look at the device, the limitation. I think the previous this morning I was searching like these statistics, looking at the penetration of mobile cellular subscription. Wow, amazing, the growth. So like on average, 100 users have 164 devices. So like you are touching that, like every individual will have more than one device. And soon, I think by next year, because this data released last year, 2023. So soon, I think everyone on average will have 2 devices carrying, like with connected with cellular network and all that. So it's a high time for, converting a lot of your large learning into smaller chunks, So what is micro learning? Is actually flexible focus and, small learning units, short-term learning activities. Sometimes you need to just address part of learning outcome. You don't need to cover all complete outcomes. These are different types. So think of it like come up with the infographic, push it to your mobile devices, and send some kind of alert. So while you're waiting for your turn in office or in anywhere, you can browse your smart device, open up the infographic, you can get the message, go through short learning content simulation, short simulations like 5 minutes, 10 minutes maximum, or text-based resources, or even podcasts. A podcast sometimes is confused like with live broadcast, but to me, podcast is just voice only. So everybody has smartphone. Faculty can actually, while stuck in a jam, on record a message sent to some platform where a lot of all students can access. They could hear, they could reply their comments or their feedback in a voice format. So that's where, or you can have a short video games. That's very effective. When we are talking about mobile learning. And this morning I was in one of the university, and they successfully implemented, come up with the short games. And by completing that game, you will cover up one of the procedure for eye, for example, how to treat eye for particular disease. It's in the game form. So I just advise them to make it implement serious games concept. Okay, I saw there's some chat message. Let me look at it. Okay, hi, good, good, no worries. Let's move on. Okay, let me move my slide. Yeah. These are the tips. Engage different learning style. When we are talking about mobile learning, choose a responsive authoring tool. So if you're using PowerPoint to design mobile learning content, it will take a lot of time. Provide additional resources and add knowledge check. So make sure these elements should be there, and I think Profita will address more in detail. To use mobile or micro learning, just giving you some examples. So for academicians, you can sit down, come up with short courses, upskilling, like as I told you, like suddenly guidelines change. You can come up with the mobile learning content or short course, which will upskill our medical practitioners. And on the right side, you can actually go through all your curriculum and see which outcome can be converted into a mobile learning or micro learning. So when we are talking about in detail, what would be more suitable to be converted and in which format? Could be video, could be interactive content or infographics. Here I'm focusing more on video based content because most of our learners or most of us prefer to go and watch videos, like whenever we stuck or we need, to get some help easy, rather than, I mean, that's my style maybe, like, but some of you may be good reader, you can send them PDF as additional material. So you can use PowerPoint but convert it into a voiceover, convert it into video. Screen capture is another one. Live cast, what we are doing now, is very interactive. Like at least I can see if anybody comment, anybody put in chat, or you can actually unmute your mic during question and answer session. You can interact. H5P is a tool. I think that's another tool which you could use, come up with, and it's accessible. And if you're using Moodle or any LMS, you can ask your technical team to have this plugin, which is free, install or enable inside your Moodle. Then you will have access to the templates. You can convert your material into a short, interactive, reusable learning object concept. Then you have 3D elements. Yeah, don't underestimate 3D objects. And Sketchfab, I yet to test whether it's accessible here or not. Sketchfab is a platform where you can download a lot of free 3D models. So use them in, yeah, there may be some challenges because certain smart devices or mobile devices may not that powerful to load that 3D objects. And the last, which is very powerful, mixed reality, AR or VR, right? Okay, here I'm just sharing with you some of the tools which we could use while developing the video video-based presentation. If you are using slide presentation video, so you could use pop. Okay, this was actually a slide I copied from another presentation, and there was like voice over recording on it. Yeah, so on left side you have slide presentation video, and right side I'm just sharing some tools. Some are free or available, some are paid, you can do. And you see interactive video, you can use H5P, which is freely available. You can go h5p.org and register yourself, and you can download templates, and you can add quizzes, hotspot. Very powerful tool to design mobile learning experiences. Let's move on. This is just Bloom's taxonomy, which I would suggest all of you, or at least someone in your institution, to come up and customize the tools which are available for your institution, inside your institution. Then it's very easy for people to use different tools for different level of Bloom's taxonomy. This was a blog post in 2014 I did. Some of the Bloom's taxonomy version I updated with different or latest tool. Okay, very quickly, steps to design mobile learning content. 6 steps I will share. First one is focus on topic. What would be more suitable to be delivered in a mobile learning? So highly focused topic should be the case, which is best match for mobile learning content. Know your audience. You should know for whom you are delivering. And once you know your audience, you know what kind of environment they will be. So what would be more suitable for them? Determine a singular learning outcome. So don't load with multiple outcomes to achieve, or even I would suggest part of outcome. Let the other part in a synchronous way, in a formal way. And for mobile learning, you could actually, I give some example here at the bottom also, like you will be able to demonstrate the 4 steps used in Mr. CPR. This is a very singular and very specific outcome to be achieved rather than the right one. Okay, create and chunk your content. That's very important. Spend some time. Chunking is not just cutting. I think Profita may be covered in ID part. It's actually, there's some methodology behind it. Like the way those who are having small children, or they observe, the mothers will spoon feed them with a small quantity, which they could adjust. The moment, sometimes, in a rush, mother have to, sometimes they feed more, they will choke. So we should not do that when it comes to mobile learning, to manage, how or which situation learner are, and adjust that duration. And sometimes it's like if you have 4 processes, you can, make based on that, like cover your one mobile learning content can cover these 4. But if you want to detail each and every process, you can separate content. Okay, let me check the message. Okay, right. This okay.
Hassan, the message is in Pinglish, we say. I mean, writing Persian or Farsi in English. So our colleague is just asking to send him the file of your presentation after the session.
Sure.
We will manage.
Sure.
Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for elaboration. Yeah, this is what the new norm. So we have to adjust with our learners and with the latest norms, right? Okay, build a micro course, like our micro learning course. So you should actually use some kind of authoring tools or web tools. I shared already H5P. You can use that and come up. And the last thing is find a suitable platform to be delivered. Like try to know, when you will know your audience in step 2, you will know which platform they are mostly on. Push your mobile learning content to that platform. Rather than asking them to come to our platform, we should actually go to their platform and push, if it's allowed, like you have to follow your school or institutional guidelines, Again, best practices: be clear about scope, focus on single learning outcome, and make sure your mobile learning content sports something in a formal or classroom, or bedside teaching, and you come up with some feedback into a mobile learning. Or sometimes you release a mobile learning content as a free pre-reading material for your face-to-face activities or synchronous activities. Keep it short, like, ideally 3 minutes. It varies, like if you are very good designer or storyteller, you can engage, like audience for hours, like in movies or in dramas or in the. So behind this engaging content, there is a strong, powerful story. So if you are a very good storyteller, then you can stretch a bit more, but ideally just 5 minutes. Choose the right video authoring tool and make it visibly compelling, not distracting. Like sometimes I notice like a lot of graphics, just for sake of using it, but that actually distracts the audience. Okay, this is an example of email. Just let me give you another example. Once a while, BMJ practice send me this email, and I have to do a disclaimer. I don't have bad medical background. I'm more in technology now. So, computer science was my actually area. But these emails, like every 2 weeks once, I will receive one email like this scenario, and that's it. And what they will say, please reply. There will be a text box once I at the bottom, and I have to reply. What would be my diagnosis? How I'm going to manage? And after 2-3 days, they will send another email how expert will address this scenario, and then they will provide a link, and that link is very, very intensive. That will be linked to BMJ online papers, database, and even WHO latest guidelines to treat this scenario or this disease. So that is a very good example of a mobile learning, like where you send email, and that is very important. You can actually use your own resources available in your institution. Go ask your librarian what are the online resources available for your context, and that's how I learn. And I, being a non-medical person, I learn a lot from this communication via email. And it's not compulsory that I have to reply. If I got time, I can reply. If I don't reply, I won't get the detailed links. Or you can actually set like that, even you don't reply, after 1 week, you will get the answer. Okay. There are a few more messages. Okay. Nothing for me. Good. This is a bit exaggerated, the picture, because I presented in some workshops and they were saying like those experts, we never get this kind of situation, But this was a post on a social media. So you can use the social media you have locally available, and that could create e-community of practice, don't disclose patient name, don't disclose, identity. You have to be very, very confidential when you are discussing about patient and all that. But that could create, like this is on one of the social media posts, and down there were like hundreds of comments, from different doctors in different part of the country, and then you could actually discuss. So that's another mobile learning format. This infographic about appendicitis, maybe some images are not, or technically or medically not accurate, but you can fix it. But coming up with short infographics, something with like that, will be very suitable. This is another for about headache. I actually learn a lot, although the pixelated is image, but this is something just giving you idea. And what you can do, the micro credential, this is another term which internationally they are promoting it. People who are very busy, they can upskill by using, it's part of like mobile learning nuggets. You join together, and once you complete that, you can earn digital badge, or it's recognized. It can even have stackable option. In Malaysia, we are running that. So you complete these micro credential courses, you earn credits. Or I think you may have also CPD points to collect for practitioners every year to renew their lessons or something. So you could develop your mobile learning content in a series form. There must be some link between these short micro learning or micro learning mobile learning content, and accumulatively, like addressing 5 micro learning or micro credential content, they can earn the CPD points. So if we call them in different part of the world like mini degrees, nano, or digital badges. I think some of your universities here, they are using these digital badges, and I even suggested them to come up with, there's a method where you can verify this badge. So if I go and present to our accreditation bodies, like or board of medical doctors, that I have completed these micro learning content or micro credential courses and I earned these 3 badges, they could verify. So this is how you could actually recognize. Very basic, simple step. I think, again, with apologies to Prof. Rita, we are covering her part also. Just sharing with you, like, you need to, these are the building blocks, for mobile learning or for learning itself. You need to start with introduction and share the most common or most important challenges covering that particular topic and give some example and allow learner to practice with that example or with that content. You move on, share the second most common type of challenge. Example, give them some tasks, let them practice. Third most, and move on. And fourth will be assessment and let them practice. Fourth could be a scenario, covering all these 3 challenges and let them answer. And the last one, you have to make sure reporting or record keeping or summarize. So knowledge check at the end, and you could summarize that. These are a few examples. Because of time, I may not go dive in. First one is interactive lecture. It's not slides. It's more like H5P you can use to convert your slides into an interactive lecture. Every object in the slide is clickable. You can come up with short course using Articulate or even H5P also, or yeah, it's H5P. You can come up with a short course, and at left bottom is a workshop, if I'm not mistaken, in Moodle, activity or lesson activity in Moodle, which can convert. We call that as ilmu, ilmu, the Arabic word for knowledge, or but it's interactive learning material unit. And the methodology behind we use is reusable learning objects. So we can develop once and we can reuse these objects, which I will consider as mobile because it's moving from one module to another module if it matches the learning outcomes or things like that. Okay, just sharing with tools very quickly. Canva. If the only tool you want to invest your time and your resources, start learning Canva. And luckily, Canva is accessible here. This morning I tested it. There are a lot of templates, and good news, they are using AI also. Okay, so you can explore. And if you need more details, just contact me. I can actually maybe conduct a specific webinar or workshop. H5P is available, accessible. There are a lot of templates. You can come up with 3D object, 360-degree virtual tour using interactive video templates. Copy that and publish it and let them use on their mobile devices. This is not accessible, but it's one of the very powerful tool but you can try implement this concept. They will give you just 7 tabs, 7 screens to cover your outcomes. It's a browser-based tool. Focus is on mobile first or micro learning experiences. And you can't add these tabs. You can reduce. You can cover your topic. So maybe first topic would be an introductory video. Second topic, they will allow you to put article, for example. The third topic, knowledge check. Fourth topic, you summarize. Or fifth topic, you can ask how you're going to apply this knowledge, what you have gained. Something like that. So you have 6, 7 tabs maximum. Very simple content, publish, and it's accessible in a mobile environment. Just to share with you, we have actually shared this blended and flipped learning. You can actually explore this chapter. You can get that. These are the references which I was mentioning earlier. Like Sarina was actually also mentioning about activity using. So activity theory, very powerful, very nicely. I learned a lot from her contextualizing, like objective, and very basically your outcome is mediated by some kind of devices. We focus on mobile devices in my case. So she actually put it in your own context very well. And I would be actually interested in to know more and collaborate and see how she implemented that activity theory. And after I published this, I came to know you can go in a longitudinal way that could even more powerful result you can get, And we have published a paper, and I think I was a co-author, and the main author is from your country, and very high recitation for this paper. You can actually Google or search, and you will get that. Successful factor for launching the adoption of mobile learning. Our focus was more on UTM, University of Technology Malaysia, Johor Bahru, and we studied and we list down the key factors for that. You can use that instrument and test in your own institutions, like what are the factors which will be making our mobile learning adoption successful, and you address those while you're designing the content. This one is actually development and evaluation all messages open online courses. Sometimes this MOOCs can be accessed using mobile device, but it's a very long course, but it's about travel medicine, so you can access that. Then this is our latest publication, is focused more on e-learning, but it's about medical programs and focusing on clinical sciences phase. One of the method we use in this paper uh, can be implemented or in a mobile learning environment. This is more for you if you want to learn more. I have a WordPress blog. It's slow due to management commitments, but every year at the end in December, I will write one summary post covering all my projects and presentation like this, and you could actually explore and SlideShare. I think the slides will be uploaded there and few other tools. So just to summary, this is what I did. And now, okay, this is something I'm self-promoting. We'll be having a International Medical Education Conference. It's a hybrid conference, so you can join from Iran. And this year theme is for One Health, covering all how we could address that. And in 2025 also, ICME is coming to Malaysia, join with IMET. So if you're interested in publishing your paper, or we have all these, both conferences have Ron Harden Innovation Award in medical education. So you can submit and you can award the monetary award also. If I'm not mistaken, 2,000 ringgit, for winner, and a trophy, Okay, so this is a picture in Langkawi. So do visit Malaysia. This is how it looks like, one of the islands close to Thailand. Thank you, and back to Prof. Rita.
Many thanks, dear Hassan, for your fruitful presentation, and I enjoyed a lot. Actually, I learned a lot. Is there any question to ask Hassan? If you have no question, please type 1 in the chat box. But I have a question, Hassan.
Yes,
you clearly mentioned microlearning in addition to mobile learning. And we have the experience in Iran that when we ask our faculty members to prepare micro contents, they used to have some mistakes. One of them is when, for example, when they have a 40-minute content, they just, break it up to the units of 5 to, for example, 10 minutes, and they are, somehow continuously meaningful, not a separate unit. The other, challenge that we have is that our faculty member, when they are going to deliver something, for example, within 6 minutes, the content would be very simple, extremely simple. It seems that they begin from alphabet A, and no matter how much time they should dedicate for that content, if it is 10 minutes from A to C, if it is 1 hour from A to T, but when it is going to be a micro content, it is going to be a simple, easy to learn content that our audience, sometimes our students, they say that they are not useful for us. They are so easy. They are so, they include simple concepts, simple, let's say, topics and so on. Do you have the same problem or challenges in your university, IMU?
Yes, you're right, absolutely. And how to address your first challenge. I always give example of a drama, episodes, and we should learn where the director of drama or television channel ends the episode. It's like in climax, and we have to wait for next what happened after that scene. So we can't cut based on duration only. So we have to sit down. We have to sit down with the subject matter experts and ask them, and go through their content, and then you suggest them. This is about chunking principle. They must know. Chunking is not cutting or shortening. Chunking is something more than that. The second scenario, when you ask about, come up with the template. Like I told you, 7 tabs. So the first tab already title introduction. Second tab already title as uh, learning material. Third tab already title is given assessment, knowledge check. Fourth tab, references, additional material. Fifth tab, summary and application of whatever else. So when you give this template, they will be restricted within that duration. So by providing these templates, we overcome this. And last thing what we did, like people like you are very senior, and also you can form a committee of quality check. So we put, like in a school or at a university level, you cannot publish your content, especially micro learning, my mobile learning, or any other short form of like micro credentialing, because you have very limited window. If you miss that, the failure is there, whole content. So we need a vetting committee to vet before we publish, and in that vetting committee you can include your senior students. That would be very good. Okay. Yeah, hope I answered the question. I think you're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you. Can't hear you. Prof. Rita, you need to unmute.
Thank you, Hassan. My mic was off. Thank you very much for your, for your nice words. Actually, in my own experience, creating micro contents are, is a much more arduous task compared to long ones. And even for some character like me, that I am a talkative character in my nature and I can handle talking, sometimes it is really hard to minimize the duration of the content. For example, under the to be less than, for example, 6 minutes or 7 minutes. So it needs practice, it needs attention. At the point is redesigning the content. It is not just breaking it up to micro assets. It's just redesigning the content, rethinking of the instruction, and then you will be able to create a very nice micro content that would be enjoyable for your learners and colleagues. Okay, no other question. I suppose maybe at the end of the presentation you will have more questions from the Sarina, Hasnain, and in this part of the presentation, let me share my own screen so that I will have a brief review. Of course, my task is easy because, my colleagues and my colleague Hasnain and Sarina, they have covered a lot. Let me share. Don't look at my desktop image. Okay. I'm going to start my presentation, which is going to give a review of the journey from theory to practice of mobile learning. Till now, I suppose that we have had some useful information with regard of this, new trend in education. Could you please, in the chat box, answer this question, whether M-learning is all about learner device or learner mobility? You can type D for learner device, and M for learner mobility in the chat box. What is your opinion? M, D and M. Thank you, thank you, thanks. You are true. Both of them are correct, but the focus nowadays is more on learner mobility. It means that because of the advancement of the technology, maybe the devices, they don't, limit us. They don't put limitation on us while designing our learning programs or environment, but we think that we want to find solutions that our learners learn while they are mobile. The other question, the focus of M-learning is technical or pedagogical. For our students who participate in the session, by pedagogical, we mean somehow, let's say, educational. Which one, T or P? P, thank you. Thank you, thank you. You are right. The focus of M-learning design is the matter of educational principles and pedagogical aspects. So, with this in mind, and with whatever Sarina and Hastane just presented for you, M-learning, as they said, it is not really a new phenomenon. But when I was reading the history of M-learning, I read something very interesting, that the first concept was raised by Alan Kay in Xerox Corporation in 1970s. He created a portable PC named DynoBook. He created this DynoBook for children, and it was portable, a portable digital book, let's say. But the idea failed in those years because of the technological limitations and insufficiencies. After that, when you go to the timeline of review the timeline of M-learning, you see that the term was recognized in the literature in 2005, and it was introduced as a learner-centered pedagogy in the education. And the first phase, really the focus was upon the device, and they planned lessons that could be easily delivered and accessed on at least, let's say, one type of digital gadgets that were available on those days. Then the journey of this M-learning continued to the second phase, that the focus was, providing learning for outside the classroom environment, and they use these digital gadgets and devices to to provide learning opportunities with the help of internet to their learners. And then it went to the third phase of this mobile learning, that the focus went to the mobility of the learner and not just the device. And this has become a globalized learning approach. And what is going to encounter in the future, it's not somehow something like a black box. I can say that they have performed several studies that they have pictured that this concept of mobile learning, mobile commercing, mobile playing, all of these mobile concepts are going to be a prominent part of our lives in near future. It has become somehow like that, but it will be more prominent compared to this year that we are living in. This M-learning that is, defined as learning through social and content interactions in multiple contexts using mobile devices that support continuous access to the learning process. Pay attention to the words used in this definition: social and content interaction. It means that learners should have interaction with both the content that is delivered, and there would be a social interaction with other learners and peers or whether maybe instructors in that platform, in that mobile learning program. And the matter is using mobile devices, and this phenomenon, it will support continuous access to the learning process. Okay, who enjoys learning the most? Do you have any idea? Can you write in the chat box? Which category of our people would enjoy studying for example, a learning program? Adults? Any other idea? Digital natives? Thank you, Hasnain. Any other idea? No? So let's continue. Frankly speaking, it is proof that almost everyone would enjoy mobile learning. The only, let's say, with research language, the only inclusion criteria is that maybe these people should have access to smartphones or a good internet, and then they would enjoy learning through mobile for different purposes, not only the formal academic ones. But as Hassan mentioned correctly, we have different generations of digital citizens. That you can see that you have the years of that they are born in. For example, maturists, they are born between 1925 to 1945. I would like to ask you first to write your generation in the chat box if you want. Are you M or are you B? Generation X, Y, Z. You can write like this: M, B, X, Y, Z. Thank you. Why X? We have lots of our students among us and our young colleagues. Thank you very much. I suppose that the ones that are, somehow Generation X, like me, they have not, maybe they're afraid to, announce their age. But I myself, I'm in one of the Generation X citizens, and you can see in the graph in the slide the characteristics and opportunities of each of these generations. And you can see the signature product, communication channel, and digital literacy of these generations. When it comes to Generation Y and Z, you can see that internet and social media and handheld devices have prominent role. And these two categories, I mean Generation Y and Generation Z, are called digital natives. Also, we have a digital Generation Alpha that is coming, that are our kids and teenagers, that they are, a phenomenon for themselves when it comes to digital literacy. So these Generation Y and Z, that all our students are categorized under these two, zones, are the most popular clients of mobile services, and they love working with mobile, and they don't understand why they're, older ages, they cannot communicate with mobile. For example, I see that many of them study for their exams on the mobile phone. This is the task that I cannot do it myself. I cannot bear looking at that a screen for a long time and studying, for example, for a final exam. But they do. So as you see, Generation Y and Generation Z, which are digital natives, they love learning the most. Now, let's continue our presentation to the how question. How is mobile learning designed? You know that with the advancement in the technology, the connectivity and functionality of mobile devices have changed. The connectivity has increased and the functionality has become more and more. And that has made these gadgets as to transform the role from basic communication gadgets to service delivery platforms for different purposes, including educational ones. So this is the technology that has produced or provided us with the opportunity of using mobile, concept for delivering learning for anywhere, anytime purposes. So learning is recommended, but there are some barriers for its adoption in the literature. You can see in this slide, for example, absence of policies. I think that our students and colleagues in TUMS, you can, clearly see understand that we have most of these barriers in our own university as one of the maybe the best or top university of the country. We have absence of policies. We have absence of commitment by institutional leadership. I don't have a case at TUMS that, for example, studying through with mobile concept or even more basic e-learning, facilities is supported by the authorities. Inappropriate educators' attitude. Sometimes our faculty members, they do not, pay attention. They are not eager to conduct or implement such ideas. Insufficient resources and lack of knowledge and skill in pedagogical aspects and contextual theories. I mean that sometimes we don't have enough expertise to develop or create learning platforms or programs with a minimum standard. I know that there are several attempts that all over the country, faculty members in different disciplines, they create mobile apps, but when you look at them, they are not the ones that they are, they don't have high quality. And so, for example, it's developed under the umbrella of a research grant or for having some kind of any aim for publication and so on, and then they are forgotten. Nobody uses them anymore because they are not well designed. From now on, I am going to focus on the last bullet, that is the educational principles and contextual theories to develop a mobile learning platform or program. If there is any question, please write. If there is no, please write C, which shows me continue. Waiting for your C's. C, alphabet C, which means stands for continue. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, how to design learning opportunities to overcome these barriers, especially the one related to educational principles. I'm going to, review 11 tips in this regard. I was just trying to find a 12th one, but the 12th one in nature was somewhat different from these 11, so that it can be like 12 tips, but let's accept 11 ones for this session. And when I just present each tip, I will ask you to rate yourself. To what extent do you agree with each of these tips? I mean that I would like to ask you to consider yourself as a customer or user of educational mobile platforms or programs, and think in that position. Even my colleagues, the faculty members, please be a student. Think like students who are going to use whatever we create and deliver to them. Steve, being easy to get started. Let's think to these two questions. Do you decide in 4 to 5 clicks whether the learning platform is worth the effort or not? Do you prefer making it easy to resume learning once logged in? I mean that you have started studying something, at the middle you have, gone away, and then you come back. Is it, and do you prefer it to be easy to resume your learning opportunity? Please think of these questions. And now I would like to, rate yourself, and I would like to thank the ones that have raised themselves in the chat box from 1 to 10. Thank you very much. Thank you for your participation. Many thanks. So let's continue. Thank you. Thank you. Any other numbers? 1, number 2, number 3, finished. This part, please, finished. Okay, so let's go to the second tip. The second tip says mobile learning should be designed for mobile environment. I would like to ask you, can you notice when an existing desktop e-learning platform or website is shrunk to fit a smartphone screen? Is it something that you can detect? Or whether when it is designed specifically for mobile screen, it looks like something else? And do you prefer a more easy to use mobile platform compared to desktop ones? Please, again, think of these two questions and put your numbers here. Thank you very much. 10. This time, most of your votings are 10. Thank you. So the concept that we shrink, or let's say justify, a website suitable for desktop or laptop to a mobile monitor, it is somehow detectable, and it may not be a very satisfying experience to most of us. So I put some dashes before going to tip 3, so that there will be a, division between what you said. The third tip says that multi-device and operating system support is essential while designing m-learning. Do you prefer your m-learning platform to be compatible with different devices or operating systems, Android, Apple, and so on, tablet, mobile, etc., or even on laptop it could be opened? Please type your answers. Thank you. Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much. This time 10s are again a lot. So let's finish it and go to the one comes here, one another comes. Thank you. Finish. I will put my dashes, and then we will go to the fourth item. The fourth tip is what Hasnain clearly described, and that is using video content. Do you prefer video contents rather than textbook? Do you retain the information presented in video format better than text? Please vote. 2, yeah, thank you. I know that because you are such a, a hard working, smart, you study a lot. I know you, Dr. Mahbouli. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Melika, she says 4, yeah. And for those that were not convenient with video, let's go to the 5th tip, using text format when appropriate. Are there occasions when watching videos is inconvenient? Do you like text-based learning incorporated with the existing video content together? Now please vote. Thank you. Yes, for sure. For many instances, it is better to include text audio, or other types of formats to cover different learning styles of our audience. And I was so glad, I was so lucky that we had some 4 or 2 in our voting to the previous question, that this tip, I included it because I just anticipated that it would happen among our participants. So we are going, let me put my dashes again so that we can go to the next tip. The next tip is considering micro-learning approach. I'm not going to say anything more than what Hasnain defined. Do you prefer learning in bite-sized segments, for example, 5 to 10 minutes rather than long ones? Or does it provide more convenience for you and lead to better retention of information? Please vote. While you're voting, I would like to share an experience we had, a research we had. It depends on mood. Yeah, you're great. The answer, you are the username is QMS. I don't know who you are, but you are great anyhow. We have had a research that the results was published in a prestigious journal recently. For medical students at ENT rotation, we asked the professors of Amir Alam ENT ward to detect and identify the common misunderstanding and mistakes or questions that medical students had in their ward. And they were, because in this rotation, the first encounter of the students with the patients are interns. They detected about 6 or 7 priorities that they decided that they are important for medical students. Then we had a workshop for them on how to devise micro e-contents, micro videos, and they created a macro video for each of those tasks. Really short ones, 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, And then whenever interns started their rotations, they had these micro contents on their phones, so that when a patient came and they had problem with doing that specific task, they could go somewhere and watch the video. And the results were fantastic, even on reducing the anxiety of newcomers to the ward. It was really interesting for me, and I remember my own experience as a medical student in this university, TUMS, that I started my rotation with orthopedic, and at the first instance, they asked me some task that I was not familiar to, how to conduct it, how to perform it, and I had a great level of anxiety that I remember just now. And when I recall it, my heartbeat just increases. Okay, so now that you have put your comments, and even we have a 100 here, let's go to the 7th tip. The next tip says that you can implement gamification. By gamification, we mean that maybe you can, design a system that you give your learners points, leaderboards, level ups, or so on. The elements that are used in a game, you can use it in your educational context as well. Does it encourage you to complete training? Please vote. Vote. Yes, thank you. I have an experience recently. I have a course with basic sciences medical students. I have gamified the course. In the first class, among about 100 students, 66 students were present without any obligation, because the course was yes, because it seems you are generation 0. Thank you, Dr. Mahmouli. Okay, let's continue to the eighth theme. I should put my dashes here, the same rule all over the presentation, using a conversational tone. You know, especially in Persian, there is a lot of difference between our formal writing tone and conversational tone. Do you prefer a light-hearted conversational tone in learning programs? And does it make training feel like less of an obligatory task for you or not? The answer to this question sometimes depends on your digital generation. But we have lots of tens here. Thank you, other participants. Yes. I do agree with you. I'm more, convenient with this type of informal conversation when it comes to interaction between instructor and student or among learners and instructors. Okay, so thank you for your votings. And now we should go to our next tip. The next tip says that encourage continuous learning. When you have a mobile program or platform, you can enjoy 24-hour, 7-day provision of that training. And you can have notifications which are sent to you and they lead you straight forward to the relevant task to be done. Do you enjoy it? Please vote. Yes, micro-learning, yeah. Micro-learning, which is the concept of these short videos of the YouTube, is, fantastic. Thank you for your voting. Yes, I do agree with you about these 10s and 9s that you have scored. And the 10th tip, it is the including the ability to learn offline. Do you love it? 1 to 10, please. You can download something and then, you can download something and then you can watch it whenever you want, besides having it online. Oh, we have 1-1. Okay, thank you. So most of you prefer to have to have the ability to study offline as well as online. And the last one, avoid learners' isolation. Do you prefer being a member of a community of learners? Do you like to learn in a network? Please vote for the last one. I didn't put dashes, not important. Okay, thank you. But again, we have lots of 10. And this is fantastic, okay, that when we think that we are students and we put ourselves in learners' shoes while designing our learning programs, the result definitely will be satisfactory. If you agree, please write 100 in the chat box. Okay, now we have a short time. Let me check the time. Yeah, we have a really short time to cover some theoretical aspects of learning. I'm going to be fast a bit. I try to speak slowly today, but from now on, let me be a bit fast. So the increasing trend is the focus on educational aspects, as we said. And this is the point that theory and practice work together to provide an optimum learning opportunity to our learners. There are different background theories. Maybe some of our students that are participating in this webinar are not familiar with these terms, but my colleagues, some of you, I'm sure that you are familiar and know what they are. But let me go through some of them. The first theory is behaviorism. This theory says that you should define measurable outcomes. You should test learners about achieving these outcomes. You should sequence the learning material according to the outcomes, and you should provide feedback and positive reinforcement to the learners. When it comes to mobile devices, we have great opportunities. Please consider your experiences as learners of mobile programs and platforms, using tools like quizzes, in-class polling, and so on. Designing sequenced skill-based learning. Sometimes when you study, for example, English within an app, it is sequential, and it guides you level by level. And providing positive reinforcement, bravo, emojis, badges, scores, and immediate feedback to your performance, they are great when it comes to mobile facilities and devices. The second theory, background theory, is constructivism and social constructivism. In this theory, we believe that learners construct their own knowledge. It's not the matter of pouring knowledge in a student's brain. It is the matter of helping them construct their own knowledge. And this happens through collaborative and cooperative learning. And learners are given control of their learning process, though, so they can become independent learners, and knowledge is constructed in social context. When it comes to mobile devices, it is clear the opportunity that they have provided for us. Unlimited interactions anywhere, anytime. Fantastic chance. Constructing new knowledge by using tools, both for content creation, content sharing, and dissemination, and learning from others. So you can see that in some cases, constructivism learning theory comes to our eyes when working with a mobile platform. The other theory is connectivism. The word shows it's the matter of connection. It is the learning theory of this digital age that we are in. Learners learn in personal networks linked to other networks. You can see that, for example, in a community, for example, in LinkedIn, Facebook, and so on, the community of learners are expanded through networks that they build, and the technology has helped us to, expand this network learning. So connections here are more than learners' current knowledge. And if you build good connections and you be a member of become a good node of a good, network, you will definitely learn. And you can see that, again, mobile devices have offered us several opportunities for this purpose. Let me skip this one. And I would like to mention the last point, which are some are, intrinsic or extrinsic factors that, we should consider while designing mobile learning. Please look at these slides. These are intrinsic factors that matter to us: learners' preferences, learners' personality, and instructional design. The questions I asked you covered some aspects of these elements. For example, your preference regarding the format of the content, your personality, which type of content would you like to have, and also the instructional design that you prefer. And besides that, and in connection to that, we have extrinsic factors too, that are peer supports and educator supports in a good program, in a well-established learning program or platform. That when you consider these intrinsic and extrinsic motivational factors, you will be able to design, let's say, a minimum acceptable learning program, let's say. And the task of instructional design is only just following simple tips If you consider those single tips, it will be easy to design an e-learning program or platform. Tips like micro content, searchable content, responsive platform or content, they are the tips that according to your setting and goals could be useful for you. Is there any question? Let me open my chat box again. Nodes and connections in network, yes, they are so important because nodes immediately means that, for example, in a network, in a social network, each individual person is considered as a node that is linked to other nodes. In LinkedIn, for example, you see that the software, recommends you to expand your network. How? From the network of the nodes that you are connected with. And now that I cannot see any further question till now, please finish this presentation with some quotations, relax. The M represents the backstage delivery technology. Learning and performance are still the biggest star. Do you agree with this? To what extent? 1 to 5. Please rate this quote. 1 to 5. I do agree 5. Yeah, it is a 5-star quote. And let's go to the next one. Technology is enabling our need to be mobile. We want to ensure that learning matches our lifestyle. A great saying. Our lifestyle has changed. So the strategies that we are going to learn through should be changed too. From 10 to 15, please rate this quote. Thank you. And for the final sentence, learning isn't just a technology. It's a mindset, think differently, it will work. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Here are some references and then my best thank yous to all of you. Is there any question? We can have question. Thank you very much for your feedbacks. Many thanks, many thanks. Many thanks for all of your feedbacks. Actually, I would like to sincerely thank my colleagues at EDC and International Affairs to Race team, Dr. Mahboube Mafi, Dr. Maghbouli, and other staff that worked hard to handle this session. And again, I would like to sincerely thank again Hasnin for participating in this webinar, for his great presentation, because I know that you are tired there are several days that you are busy in Tehran participating in different meetings and academic events. So at this time of the afternoon, it is our honor that you accepted to be with us. And also, Sarina, many thanks for your interest in medical education. I hope you the best. You are one of the dearest for me. Thank you. Any other question or anything else? Let's say goodbye. Thank you. Until the next event from EDC and Appraise to Raise teams. Thank you. Good night.